Hello, hello. Welcome to 20 at 10 with Nat. And my guest tonight is going to be Alexander Gilbert, who maybe is not here yet. Alex is a local to Austin filmmaker. He likes to create videos for local artists and local talent. But he also focused on teaching marketing skills to better advertise your product or service. And hey, Alex.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good. I was just about to say that your entity online is Studio Gilby.
Yes.
As in Gilbii.
Yes.
As a play on Studio Ghibli?
It's like half and half. My last name is Gilbert, and so originally it was Gilby, and then that was taken. So I just went with the double I's, and then it just so happened to sound kind of like Studio Ghibli. And so if you look on my Instagram, there's even a picture where like I play off their logo and it's me instead of the Totoro character.
Yeah.
So I've embraced it.
Ghibli or Ghibli?
Studio Gilby.
Well, I know you're Ghibli, but what's
I think it's Ghibli or Ghibli. I don't know.
I've seen all the films, but I can't say the name. So
yeah.
So that makes me at least half a fan of. Anyways, okay, so I got your spelling right, so everybody can find you. Hey, look,
Awesome.
we're all Ruban.
Yeah.
Modern Midas.
He told me to wear something tight.
Clearly, you followed his advice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I just introed you and talked about your filmmaking, and also that one of your passions is teaching other people how to market or improve their marketing skills so they can better promote their product or service.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Is it like a one-on-one consultation? Is it like an online class type thing? Like, how do you do that?
So I was working on one of the plans for this year was to do a classroom kind of setting, do something like that, but then the whole virus came around. So it's mostly been one-on-one consultation whenever I do it, and then a lot of online back and forth. I do very basic stuff, trying to get people in the door and teaching, especially musicians who don't really they want to focus on their music. They don't really want to focus on the marketing aspect of it, which is probably about 70 to 80% of making money off of art.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it also costs money, huh? So
yeah.
It's unfortunate. Cool. Well, and I don't think I mentioned it in the intro, but you filmed my NPR video for the island that NPR actually highlighted in their blog, All Songs Considered. So that's a huge win for local Austin talent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, glad we're kind of keeping it in the family down here in Austin. Cool. Well, thanks for joining me. I have at least one question for you.
Yeah.
What has been actually first, how long have you been in Austin? I'm curious.
I moved to Austin in 2013.
Okay, so a couple years.
Yeah, so about 7.
Okay. And then did you immediately start doing film work when you were here, or has it been a process of getting more into that?
Yeah, I was doing engineering when I was in Houston. I decided I wanted a just total change of pace, so I came here and I immediately started pursuing film, but I didn't really get into it until probably about 2 years into being in Austin.
Okay.
And I've done film before, and I did a lot of it in high school, but I didn't start doing it professionally till probably about 2015.
Okay. And then what would you say has been the coolest project that you've worked on so far?
Oh man. I don't know. I'd say like a lot of the projects that get recognized are the ones that I really enjoyed. I enjoy all my projects, but the ones that like get some cool kind of recognition. I did a documentary for Raoul for Modern Day Midas, and then I did one for a friend of mine who was an immigrant here that wanted to get his green card and start his own business. And he eventually did get his green card, but I made a whole documentary about, because I'd been filming him for so long, about like his process, the troubles, what he can and can't do while he was on a visa. And that got a lot of recognition from like a lot of friends and family, and that was really cool.
You'll have to send me the link to that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Okay. And then I guess like counter to that, like what would be your dream project? If you could do anything with film, what would you do?
Man, I'd like to do some feature length films, but I really love documentary film work. And mostly like, cause it's just run and gun kind of stuff. I don't got to worry about like a whole crew of people. If I have the right camera and the right gear, then I can just kind of take care of everything on my own. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of how I run things, especially with Studio Gilbert. It's very rarely do I have other people with me. I had someone on set for your audio, but that was just because I wanted extra hands and extra eyes just to make sure I did record everything. But for the most part, I usually do everything by myself.
Cool. Well, but like what kind of project? Okay, if it's documentary, but like, a chef or like, a musician, an immigrant, like what kind of documentary are you interested in? What would be your dream project?
It'd be cool to follow a musician on tour kind of thing would be probably, at this point, like the best thing that could happen.
Cool. Have you seen that documentary called, is it maybe Any Day Now? It's the Mumford and Sons documentary where they went on tour with, I think it's Old Crow Medicine Show, and they were on like a silver bullet train from like either California to New Orleans or New Orleans to California. It came through Austin too. Okay. And they documented the whole, it was really cool. I recommend it.
I need to check that out.
Yeah. Cause that came out when I was still doing photography, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I just want to aim for the whole tour and document it, and it just looked really special.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Cool. All right, you ready for a pop question?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever marched in a protest?
No, I have not. I was going to go to the protest that was happening in Austin when Trump got elected, not necessarily to march, because I try not to get super involved unless it's something that I know I can really make a difference for. But I wanted to go with my camera and kind of document the whole thing, and I ended up something else came up and I couldn't go. But that's the closest I've gone to protesting.
Okay. Do you want another question, or do you feel good?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, do one more.
Yeah, I'm pretty open.
Have you ever piloted an airplane?
No, not even close.
All right, I'm going to save that question.
All right.
I'll do one more. Have you ever vomited in a car?
I vomited on an airplane.
That'll count.
No, I've never vomited on a car. I got motion sickness on an airplane once when I was flying to England, and my brother was sitting next to me, and I threw up all over his backpack.
Oh.
And and that was like the only time I've ever thrown up in a vehicle, I think.
That's so unfortunate. Okay, well that's not too bad if you get motion sick. Like that's not too bad that you've never thrown up in a car.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question for me?
Actually, I was wondering, speaking of your South by Southwest entry, I was wondering what the process was with writing the island, and what made you go with the kalimba as your instrument as opposed to a guitar, as opposed to any other instrument, like a toy piano, which would give you kind of the same sound.
Right. I was in a songwriting group, so I had a deadline every week to submit a song. And I was flying to Montana to hang with my family for a little bit. And I couldn't bring a guitar. And so I had just borrowed, actually have it out. I was going to play it at the end if you want. I just borrowed it from my friend who's a percussionist. And she was like, you should just try playing around with this. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I won't have any other instrument. So I will write a song on this and I will have to learn how to play it. So that's how the island came about. And I think the prompt for that week was like angel. So I had to work in the actual word into the song. So that's kind of, honey, you may have angels keeping you in the light, but I've got demons. So that's how that kind of shaped the first verse is the prompt.
Okay.
And then because of the sound, it probably shaped the chorus too. Lost in the ocean, you're the island. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like it was one of those songs that I actually worked really hard on. As opposed to some songs, they kind of just come really easily and, or they kind of write themselves. This one, I felt like it took a lot of effort because it's a little bit weird, the voice that I wrote it in. I'm writing it from third person, like a third person speaking in first person. So he said, honey, and he says you, but I'm talking about him saying you. It's just a really it all makes sense on paper, all the punctuation's correct and everything, but it just in order to write it truthfully, I felt like I had to write it in that way for whatever reason.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of the basic.
Do you get any I'm assuming it's all the keys are in one key. So is there any challenges or anything like that is it a full chromatic scale?
It is tuned to the key of G. So this is a D. I forget what they're all called, but it came with a little key, a little map, and it tells you which ones go together.
Yeah.
And so I just was messing around until I figured something out that sounded somewhat decent that I could layer a melody over. Yeah. And there's nothing like a deadline to really help you, a little bit of pressure to learn something new. So
for sure.
That's how it came about. Little diamond from all the pressure.
Yeah.
I used up all my data for the month in those couple of days I was in Montana because there's no Wi-Fi, no landlines, no cell reception. We had to drive into town to get any kind of reception. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for the insight.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do a little top question. Have you ever stolen an item of clothing from a friend? Probably. Not necessarily ooh, I'm gonna take this thing, but just kind of hey, can I borrow this? And then years later you find it and you're oops. Or from my sister, we might borrow each other's jewelry or hats or something, or jacket. Yeah. And it's not necessarily within a mal intent, but for sure have ended up with other people's clothing.
I feel
and other people have ended up with mine too.
There was one I was visiting a friend. He has a lake house and we were all swimming in the lake. And then after we were all done in the water, we were getting changed and I didn't have an extra shirt with me, so he lent me a Mega Man shirt. I put it on. And then I forgot that one. I was just I like this shirt. I'm going to not say anything and take it home. And so I definitely don't have that shirt now. It definitely wouldn't fit me even if I did, but that'd probably be it.
Yeah, I definitely borrowed clothes that I'm wouldn't mind keeping this, but yeah. Yeah, I eventually, I for sure, well, because of that, just because people are forgetful and stuff, when I borrow stuff, I try really hard to return it as quickly as possible. Or, I'll get in this zone where I, will start kind of incessantly bugging them to let me give the thing back. Because I'm if you don't let me give it back, I'm just going to forget. I borrowed something for Halloween, and I only gave it back to her, last month.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's
Yeah.
been clean and it's been sitting in my trunk for 3 months, but I just thought I would see her and I never see her. So I was like, all right, I'm dropping it off at your house. Please confirm that it's there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? And then I can play, maybe I should play the island since we've talked about it.
I don't think so. I was gonna ask, like, what are some of your musical influences that that sparked your, musical journey?
Also, Raul says we should talk about all his vinyls and stuff. And I'm like, Raul, the world doesn't revolve around you. It's not all about you. Just giving you a hard time. I think that two bands that stood out to me, well, actually one band that stood out to me in high school was Muse. My friend introduced me to them, and they have... Raul, are you serious? No, I gave them back. I think I gave them all back. Raul's saying I still have his records. I think I gave them all back, by the way. Now I'm like panic in my mind, like, did I not give them back? Like, I think
That's
I did.
another thing you've borrowed.
Well, I borrowed them, and then I packed up half of my room because we were going to move, and then we didn't move for 4 months. So, like, It was in a box, and I couldn't listen to them. Anyways, I never listened to them. I just gave them back eventually. Anyways, Muse, the band Muse, I would probably call them my all-time favorite band, because they were the one of the more influential bands that just kind of blew my mind, in that, like, to me, they felt very rock. And then randomly, I think I listened to Absolution. Maybe it was my first album that I heard. I'm gonna look it up really quick. And I think it's like Butterflies and Hurricanes. Let's see. And it's a song. Let's see, Apocalypse Please Amazing. I think it's Butterflies and Hurricanes. So it's like this intense rock song, and then all of a sudden in the middle there's like a grand piano solo. And I'm
wow.
There's this like classical piano, just like, and it builds and builds into this like cacophony of amazing music. And I'm like, you're allowed to do that in a rock song? Like, they just kind of blew my mind. Like, oh, I didn't realize you could have this really beautiful classical melody in the middle of a rock song. And they kind of helped me break out of up until that time, I'd pretty much only listened to Christian music, and it's all kind of very cookie cutter, very, not dependable, but like there's no surprises. It's very, you know what to expect with everything. Yeah. And so it was very unexpected, and I enjoyed that element of their music a lot. So, and their melodies were kind of alien to me in a beautiful way. Like, I'm hearing them, and they weren't like other melodies I was hearing, but they were melodies that I'd made before, or vocal tendencies that I don't know if that makes sense, where I'm like, oh, that's a melody that I wanted to make, but I didn't think that was normal, so I never did it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think that makes sense. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just one example of one influence. There are other influences too, but they stick out in my mind as like the biggest like whoa moment. And then they're also the band I've probably paid the most money to go see. I flew out to Red Rocks to go see them a couple years ago. And I was like, I've never seen them live. I need to go see them because they're the band that like blew my mind. So
yeah,
I did it. I went to see them, and I saw them at Red Rocks, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else before I play The Island?
No, I'm assuming I plug afterwards, or...
Yeah. Well, you can plug now if you want.
Okay. Yeah, just whoever's watching, follow Studio Gilby on Facebook and Instagram. I don't have a website. Everything is on Facebook and Instagram, and if you want more examples, just message me. And
I have you tagged in my bio already, so people can find you in my bio.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other things?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll close this out with The Island, and then we'll probably wave goodbye at the very end.
Awesome.
He said, honey, you may have angels keeping you in the light. I've got these demons and they're holding me tight. So if you've a moment and can spare me the time, I'm in over my head, won't you throw me a lifeline? 'Cause I'm lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go. He said, love, I'm a man. I've been wandering so long. I'd almost lost all hope you existed at all. But I see you and I feel you. You can't be a ghost. If you're willing to see me, then I have to know. 'Cause I'm lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go. You're my sunshine, my refuge, my peace in the storm. You're the reason I'm seeing stars I've never seen before. I was lost in the ocean, searching for the shore. You're the island that I've been looking for. I hope you let me land, 'cause I can't bear to let you go.
Yay!
Thank you, Alex, for joining me. And
Yeah, of course.
yeah, have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Bye.